Travel and Things in association with Sun Destinations, iconic destinations with amazing experiences, present In Conversation With. I'm your host, David Batsoffen, and today my guest is the owner of Nambu Camp up near Hoedspruit, and that is Rewald Drinkwater. Rewald, good morning. Welcome to you.
Morning, David. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks very much for chatting with me. It has been a while since I visited the camp, and you and I have back and forth for months while we try and set this up. But that's just the name of the game and how it works in this industry.
Yeah, it's wonderful when you get busy in the environment. After COVID, things have really picked up nicely for us, which means we really got busy again. So it has been a while since we've seen you, but we'd love to have you back sometime again.
Thank you so much. So tell us, before we go through the slides that I've chosen to use as talking points this morning, tell us a bit about the camp, a bit about its history, and where it is, most importantly.
So Nambu Camp is a wonderful piece of land and a wonderful piece of history. My father bought it in 1979, and for most of the 80s and the 90s, it was run just as a family holiday space where we spent many wonderful holidays, many wonderful memories made here. And in the 2000s, we started thinking of the idea of how we could develop it into something commercial. And then in the sort of from 2015 onwards, things started changing, and we thought, we really do need to make it a commercial venture. Right. I, at the time, was living in Cape Town and moved up here. And in 2017, we really started in earnest at turning it into a commercial venture. And it's just been a wonderful, wonderful adventure since then. An interesting one with COVID in between, but a wonderful one.
We all forget about those COVID years, 2 years that just vanished from everybody's lives.
It was a very horrific time, but it was an interesting time because it allowed us to kind of step back. We had just opened Nambu Camp. Nambu Camp was running for just over a year and a half at that stage. And it kind of gave us the opportunity to step back and say, what do we really want out of it? So as horrific as it was also a blessing in its own way for us. And so Nambu Camp has subsequently changed the direction a little bit. We've upgraded our rooms. We've done quite a bit of work to get it into the direction that we would like it to be in.
Right.
And I'm very, very happy and pleased with what we've got today. So Nambu Camp is situated just outside of Hoedspruit. We're about a 30-minute drive outside of Hoedspruit, so it's a really easy fly in to the Hoedspruit airport, which a lot of our clients do, and then also an easy drive for a lot of clients to get to us, so really not difficult. And we are situated currently in the Balule Olifants West Nature Reserve, which is quite it's a really interesting reserve because I think it's been completely overseen by majority of the bigger lodge areas around us.
I was about to comment on that. When you say Balule, people go, where the heck is that? But it's a great reserve. It really and truly is, and it has some very beautiful camps, currently yours being one of them.
There's wonderful camps in here, and the wonderful thing is, the people here all work together in a very, very unique way, in that once we have our guests here, it's important that our guests have a great experience, regardless if you're staying at my camp or the camp next door. And that really works very, very well. So we all make sure that, once we've done our marketing and I've done my responsibility at getting you to Nambu Camp, then it's our responsibility to make sure, regardless of where you are, that you have a wonderful time here with us. But Balule in itself, and Olifants West in particular, is a really beautiful reserve because of its undulation, because of the topography that we have, and then also because of the Olifants River. We've got a very long stretch of Olifants River on our most northern side, one of our northern borders. And it's an immaculate river to have part of what we have here. It's teeming with wildlife, beautiful crocodiles, beautiful hippos, and just incredible wildlife sightings. often in the mornings, and yesterday morning I had an American group with me, and we stopped down by the river, and we were having our morning coffee and just generally having a wonderful time. And the gentleman turned back to me and he said, this is quintessential Africa. We're standing at the riverbed, looking down into a vista, a beautiful sunrise just earlier. So there's that beautiful glow in the morning, a little bit of over the water. It was just spectacular. And that's what we want. We want people, when they're here at Nambu Camp, to delve back into their memories, to delve back into their kind of the hopes and dreams that they have, and then eventually hopefully realize them when they're here, see those mind sights, and then be able to realize them a little bit. And I think we do.
Yeah,
get it right.
Yeah, I think that's what visiting Africa is all about, is to get out into the bush, be comfortable if that's what you want. And at Nambu, you will definitely be comfortable, but then have those experiences that I don't think you can have anywhere else in the world. In Africa, yes, possibly, but you're not going to have this sort of experience in Europe, for instance. So it's a whole different kettle of fish, and one that I think people need to relax into and not rush around from one sighting to another, just to take it easy and to absorb everything that your camp and Balule has to offer.
Absolutely. I can't agree more with you. And it's one of the things that we try and get right here at Nambu Camp, is that we don't rush things. We take things very slow. It's the traditional morning safari and the afternoon safari, but it's not for me, and most certainly not for my staff. The be all and end all to see the big 5 in one game drive. It's about the smaller things. It's about taking it slow. It's really about seeing nature as it is out there.
Yeah.
And majority of our clients are people that live in Europe or in America or in the East, and this is a unique experience for them. Most people join us, and it's an opportunity for them to have a bucket list sort of ticked off and say we've done it and we've enjoyed it. But I don't want it to just be a bucket list. I want it to be something that they delve back into their memories and go, gosh, was an experience. That was something that we wanted to do, but it's really made a difference in the way I see life and the way I enjoy my holidays in the future. We often get involved when guests book with us prior to them arriving, and I almost always try and make sure that Nambu Camp is either at the end of their stay, or I try and make people understand that the fact when you come on a safari, that is really a holiday. Offers you so many wonderful things, from the Cape, the winelands, all the way to Natal and its safari parks and its various areas, to the Northern Cape. But apart from that, when you are in these bigger cities and these bigger areas, you're rushing around. You are going to these various sites that you have to see. But when you're on safari and when you're at Nambu Camp, you really are on holiday. And so I try and make that point very clear, that people realize when they come here, they are going to be in a space where they are on holiday. They're relaxed. There's no rushing to the best coffee shop or the best croissant. There's no climbing a mountain or anything. It's really about enjoying nature, enjoying what we have here, reading your book, having an afternoon nap, and just, settling back into a quiet life.
And for people who are wondering where you are seated, this is the larger view of where you are currently. The tree that we can see, that leadwood over there, is directly behind your head at the moment. And this area was so, when I walked into this area, my first response was just, wow, really and true. It is a beautiful space. It really and truly is. And at night, I do believe that it comes into its own.
I absolutely agree with you. I think it's one of those spaces that just works. It's simple, uncomplicated. The coloration of it, you can see on the photo there, it's light tones. It's very, very easy. But it's also very much family and group inclusive. And that's what we try and get right. If you dine with us and if you have dinner with us at night, in the morning, everybody is seated on a large table. At a lot of other spaces and lodges, people have their own private place, and that's where you dine. but I believe in the fact that people need to share things and chat to each other and reach over and ask for the butter beans from that side of the table, and it being passed on, and that creates a nice community environment. And I see it on a daily basis. People arrive here, and they meet each other, and the hugs and the emails that email addresses that get shared at the end of their stay is just wonderful, because people have made connection, and you can see it. It's genuine connections that happen.
I hear what you're saying, and also, Rewald, I think what happens is, specifically if you're at a large hotel in an urban city, you have breakfast, you may wave at other guests, but your meals are insular. You go out and you do something during the day that other people don't do, so you have nothing in common. Whereas in a lodge, you have a similar experience. If you're on different vehicles, yes, you may see different sightings, but if you're all together, then you share the same experiences. So over a meal, it's really wonderful to chat about what you've seen, what you're hoping to see, what you've seen on past drives. And sometimes you even find that there is a connection between you and other guests seated at the table that you were totally unaware of.
Absolutely. I'm so amazed at the amount of times that people arrive here, and they connect with their fellow travelers, and they've just come back. This group has just come back from Cape Town, and the next group is going to Cape Town, or they've got the next lodge in the Kruger, and they'll go, in the Kruger you have to do the S100, or you have to do this rest camp, or you have to go look at this spot. We had this wonderful experience there. So within South Africa, and within traveling within South Africa, there's always wonderful connections.
Yeah.
But inevitably, there's wonderful connections outside of this environment too. Where people, and I've seen this happen time and time again, where we have guests who come and revisit us, and they say, we met so and so at the lodge, and we're still in contact with each other.
Yeah.
And that's just great. It's just really, really nice to know that people have found a connection, even if they don't see each other every year, or they never see. But the fact that they send a Facebook photo and say, do you remember this?
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, I had that with a family in Botswana. A husband and wife, we met on a game drive. They allowed me on their vehicle because I didn't like the people I was with. And that was almost 30 years ago. And we're still in contact. We've been on safari twice together here in Africa. They come back regularly. And as you say, even if we don't see them on a yearly basis, there are emails that get exchanged, their birthday greetings that get exchanged, and certainly photographs that pop up. I've just sent them one, funnily enough, just a few days ago, going, do you remember this? And of course, they were wonderful memories.
Yeah, I'm a very big believer in and I call it compacted memories.
Right.
It's something we do here at Nambu Camp, which happens time and time again. You drive a road, and today it's a quiet road. Tomorrow you drive it and you see a hyena on it. The next day you drive it and there's elephants on it.
Yeah.
And so I often get asked this question: do you never get tired of it? And you don't, because of because things are constantly changing.
Yeah.
And those memories compact on top of each other time and time again. And that's what, I hope when people leave here, I hope they leave with memories that they've compacted on top of other holiday memories, other memories they can delve back into when they sit in front of their computer again, and they're busy working away, and they need that little mental break, and they can delve back into it. And they go, that's good.
I know, for instance, a giraffe. You'd think giraffe would be easy to spot because they're tall and they stand out. But no, these guys can hide for days while you're in camp. And then as you drive out, there's a whole journey of them walking down the side of the road. And you go, where have you been for the last 3 days?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, it's such a wonderful experience if the moment guests realize the fact that it's nature that we're dealing with here. It's not a menu that you can order and it absolutely comes your way on every drive.
No, not at all.
The beauty in that is you set out in your morning drive and you don't know what's going to happen. It could be a quiet day today.
Yeah.
Regardless of it being a quiet day, you're out in nature, you're seeing wonderful things. the beautiful thing about the Olifants West Reserve, which is the specific area we're in, within the greater Balule, it offers such great vistas and views that, you know, often I will stop my vehicle and we'll get out the vehicle and we'll just enjoy the quiet, the space, and the place that you can look at. Which,
that's
you know,
what it's
if
all
you,
about nowadays. It's not, as you said earlier, chasing the big five constantly. It's just taking
no,
them. I mean, I remember this chameleon, for instance. You don't see them all the time, but it's a party trick of most guides, is
yeah,
it not? Specifically, they can find these guys. I've been to a camp recently where we found 12 on the drive home.
one night. Excellent. No,
It
and
was,
you are right. It's absolutely a bit of a party trick. And you know, when our vehicles pull in the evenings, we have our reception staff there with a nice hot tray with some tea and some towels, you know, just to welcome the guests back. And that's often one of the first things they say. It's like, I cannot believe how these guys have spotted a chameleon while they were using a flashlight, while it is dark out. And I mean, I just smile in the back of my mind because I know exactly how they do it. And there is a very
and
easy trick.
the other one that I spotted while at your camp was this bush baby that
Oh
was
yeah.
about to leap off a post. And it was not easy to get this fellow to sit still long enough to snap that shot in virtual pitch darkness.
Yeah, but that's a great little photograph. I love it. I think
Thank you.
it's really, really nice. And those are the things that are interesting, right? You know, those are the that people find on their drives, and they come back, and we've got a big old box here in the lounge where we've got beautiful books inside, and people come in and flip through them and find the information and go, gosh, I didn't know this existed, or I didn't know
Yeah.
this was something I would see on a safari.
Now, you mentioned earlier hyena. And when I was at your camp, this den that's not too far away from you guys
Correct.
gave us nothing. We went there every morning, every evening, the guide and I, and we found nothing. And then on the last morning drive, we got there and the pups were out. Now, this pup by now has grown up. It's a totally different looking animal, but baby hyena are just so special and so inquisitive.
You know, I can't agree more. I think they're wonderful animals to have around you. They're wonderful animals to see. And it's exactly what you say, that the den is not far from us, but often you don't see the magic every single time you're there.
Yeah.
But when you see it, it is incredibly special. I think hyenas has been done a great disservice by by Disney in a way.
By Disney, yeah. Those three lunatics are not what hyenas really are.
Because you know they look scraggly when they're older, and they really do look an interesting bunch. But when you see a baby hyena and you see a brand newborn baby hyena, it's just like a little brown bear. They're the cutest thing. They really are.
They're
just
they are indeed. When is there a good time to visit Nambu, or a better time in the year to visit Nambu, Rewald?
So I'm a very big believer in that any time in the year is great actually for safari, because the various seasons offers various different opportunities for you to see animals in a different setting every season. Our highest season is June, July, August, and September, and those are our winter months, when it's a little bit more comfortable for people during the day. Because our temperatures aren't as hot, but at night it can be a little bit chilly.
Yeah. Blankets and fires.
Blankets and fires, and on the vehicles we have wonderful hot water bottles that we put on people's laps and keep people warm, but it can be chilly.
Yeah.
My favorite time, absolutely my favorite time in the bush, is from February, March, April, and May. It's beautiful and green still. It's lush. It looks lovely. The animals are fat and just, you know, in a happy environment.
Yeah.
And generally a time that we are a little bit quieter, because that's the first part of the year. People are working in Europe. People are getting their lives sorted every year. So it's generally a quieter time to come. Although the camp is generally, there's a fair amount of people always around, but it's not at its full capacity. And that's when I enjoy it the most. Then there's time to sit down and chat and have a conversation and just, you know, have a good all around time with our guests. But yeah, I think any time is a good time.
You spoke about, or you alluded to how your days are structured, in as much as there are the ubiquitous 2 game drives a day. Take us through a regular day for guests, from waking them up in the morning to saying goodnight to them at night.
Perfect. So it's very much the same as most safari lodges will do, but we start in the morning at 5:30, and we'll have some coffee and tea, and we'll have our traditional South African rusks, which is a dried biscuit that we make here. It's similar to a biscotti in a way. And then guests go out on a game drive for roughly about 3 to 3.5 hours, just depending on what the morning offers you. And it could be a very, very busy morning, or it could be a quieter morning, but it all just depends on what nature puts on the cards for the day. While we're out on safari, guests will stop for a coffee break, and we also do small sort of jars with yogurt and fruit, just a little snack, just to bide them over while they're out on their drive. They'll come back and we serve a continental breakfast immediately, because generally by that stage people are hungry and they're ready for something. And so we serve continental breakfast, so simple, easy breads, cheeses, and cold meats. And generally that is enough for our guests. We do offer a hot breakfast, but it'll be asked around the table, and if you want it, they are very welcome to have it. But often people are satiated with the cold breakfast. And then people have the morning to themselves, and often people, because they got up early, they sneak off to their bedrooms and have a little nap. Or, they'll be next to the pool. We've got various little nooks and crannies where you can grab a book and a nice chair where you can sit down and catch a bit of sun and a bit of warmth, or just relax and look at birds. And then generally we serve lunch around about 1 o'clock. Now, we do lunch very different to what most other lodges do. We do a very small, very simple, non-protein based lunch, for the simple reason, often if you have a heavy meal at lunch, people start dozing off and wanting to have a nap in the day. The thing is, you're about to go on a big safari again in the afternoon, and we don't want our guests to be uncomfortable, but we also don't want them to fall asleep on their drive. So it's a nice light lunch, nothing too heavy, and you have 2 or so hours before you then go on safari. But we then people are again able to enjoy the pool and just relax a little bit. And just before safari in the afternoon, at about 3:45, we set out again, a nice little high tea, but again, just simple. We don't pretend to be a big over-the-top lodge. We do nice, simple, a good Victorian sponge, good coffee and tea, and off people go for another 3.5 hour safari. And in the evening, we pack nice gin and tonics or whatever their preference is for them, and they'll have a good 15-30 minute break while they're out on their drive. Yesterday evening, we've had a wonderful experience. We had a Dutch family with us, and Libon and Terence, who's our guides on one of the vehicle, packed it all out, got it all ready, got everybody settled, got their drinks ready. And Terence said, as he walked around the front of the vehicle, he just saw 4 eyes coming towards him. And there was 2 female lions walking in their direction. They had to hurry everybody back up to the vehicle, and the lions came walking past, and off they went. And the guests got off the vehicle again and continued with what a wonderful experience. What a phenomenal opportunity to really realize that you are surrounded by absolute nature.
And now they go back to the Netherlands and try and explain to their friends that they've gotten off a vehicle to have a cup of coffee or a drink, and all of a sudden they have to get back because they're wild lions. These are not tame things that you've placed there ready for the drink stop so that the lions can walk past. You recage them and move them back to the den. No.
And that's what it's about, experiences that just happen.
Right.
Which is really, really, really nice. So it's wonderful.
They're memories that they will have for the rest of their lives. It's not a memory that fades at all. It may get expanded upon in the course of the telling, The lions may have climbed onto the vehicle, climbed into the vehicle in some
I hope they
particular,
haven't, but in their mind,
iteration. Yeah, as long as you say, as long as they haven't done. With that in mind, I mean, you've been at this lodge basically all your life, um, at various times in your life. What's your best memory from Nambu?
Um, as I said, I think it's to do with compacted memories, and I won't be able to pinpoint one memory for you, but I can definitely tell you that over the span of my life, we've had incredible experiences, and each one of those build up into a picture that I have of this place that is just wonderful and outstanding, and that's what I hope when people leave here, they add to their memory in that sense.
How many people does the camp hold?
We sleep 12, so 6 rooms. So it's
Yeah.
a very intimate lodge. And we also don't overstaff the lodge. We run the lodge with a very small number of staff, so people don't feel crowded in the space at all.
Is it child friendly? Or let me make that a double-edged question. Is it child and wheelchair friendly?
It's not wheelchair friendly. We are situated on a kopje, so it's very rocky and it's very up and down, and we've got a lot of wooden walkways, so not necessarily child friendly, but wheelchair friendly, but child friendly to the point where we don't allow children younger than 8 to be on safari with us. Anything older is perfectly fine. If the camp is taken by a family and the whole camp is taken, then we don't put a restriction on the age.
Right.
It's managed, but other than that, it's up to from 8 and above.
Now, to book people who don't know about Nambu, it's part of the Sun Destinations portfolio, so you can book through Sun Destinations, which is the easiest way to go. You just look them up online, and you can make a booking directly that way.
Yeah, so it's the easiest thing is sundestinations.com or .co.za. You can either go to either of those, but you can also just go to the Nambu Camp website. You can also go to our Instagram, any of our social medias, Nambu Camp, phonetic, nice and easy, and it'll take you directly to the Sun Destinations website. If you click onto it, then from there, and bookings happen all through there. Sun Destinations have a wonderful team of experts and ladies behind the screens who will make the experience absolutely effortless and easy to connect into.
And that's what you want your guests to have. You don't want them worrying about the drive or the flight or anything like that. They just want to get there and enjoy themselves. End of story, which they will, because your camp lets them do that. And I don't know, because I can't see from where you're sitting. And I know that in your background, your camp is full of impala lilies. They are so beautiful. They really and truly are. And people who don't know what an impala lily is, go and Google it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There isn't actually, we normally have a thing that's called a kokodama, which is an impala lily, which we keep in the camp. In the lodge itself, but it's not here at the moment, so I can't show it to you right now. But they are wonderful. We are in the time at the moment where the impala lilies are in full bloom, so they are beautiful. They really are lovely. We pride ourselves also actually on our garden. We've got a wonderful garden around Nambu Camp. It's something that my mother started, and she's developed over many years, and it's grown into a beautiful little beast on its own. So it's something that when our guests are here, they're able to walk around, meander through it, look at all the various different plants, and see things that they wouldn't necessarily see in any other gardens when they visit here.
Yeah, and also because of your gardens, the bird life in camp is fantastic. You don't even have to go out on a drive to look at birds. If I remember correctly, there was a bird feeder just behind the kitchen area. And I remember sitting there and finding hornbills and all sorts of wonderful bird life hopping around, enjoying their breakfast.
This type of got many sunbirds out at the moment because of the aloes that's going, because of the impala lilies that's at the moment in full bloom. But yeah, throughout the year, there's always beautiful bird life, beautiful small life happening in the garden around you. and that's really, really special. Often we'll have guests. If our guests are here for an extended period of time, we'll get guests that say, listen, today I'm not going on drive this afternoon. I just want to sit at camp.
Yeah.
And personally, I think that is an excellent choice to do, because you get full busy days and it's really wonderful out there. But it's also so special to sit here and just take it in.
Indeed it is. Rewald, thank you so very much for chatting to me. I've been talking to the owner of Nambu Camp, part of the Sun Destinations portfolio. And if you, like me, think that this is somewhere you should be, book before it's too late. Highly recommended. And it's a glorious camp to spend time in. Thanks once again for chatting to me. And I hope next time I'm up in the Hoedspruit area, we can have a cup of coffee or a quick catch up once more. Thanks so very much for joining me on here on Travel and Things.
Awesome. Thank you, David.